Alright guys, as you can see, I don't know if you can see my screen, but basically if you're seeing what I'm seeing, then you can see that there's stacked windows, but it's not the full thing. And every time I try to resize it or put it back into the window so you guys can see my full screen, it's just not having it for some reason. And this is becoming very frustrating, to be honest, because I was really looking forward to doing this live stream. I'm stumped. I'm really stumped. Preview locked. No, I don't. Preview unlock. Yeah, tried all of those, mate. I've tried all of those, it's not working. Yeah, I've tried full scaling, window, full screen projector, window projector, canvas output, scale filtering. The only thing that I can think of, guys, is that I'm using a Mac, and it is possible that the software on a Mac, I'm sure it works, but it's just a question of getting it sorted out. So yeah, I'm just having a few teething problems. I mean, we still have time. There's plenty of. We've still literally just started London, so I'm going to try my best to get this sorted. Window capture. No, that's just adding. You see, when you look at it like this, I don't know if you guys can see that now, but the whole thing's on there. You can see my desktop and everything else. Display 0, crop, annual. To window. Active trades. It's really delayed as well, to be honest.
Okay, guys, sorry about that. Some technical difficulties. We're going to get that sorted out. So typically up until now, I've been doing all of the live streaming sessions from doing them every Tuesday and Thursday. So our other two analysts are going to be picking up a day each this week. We have, excuse me, guys, my throat is kind of killing me today. We have one of our analysts just getting everything all set up with the software, and for some reason, like he was saying, he was on a Mac and it's not working. But we will get that rectified, and he will be doing live streaming and live trading sessions every Wednesday. And then our other analyst will be coming and doing live trading sessions on Fridays. So you can look forward to that schedule. Again, very, very sorry for the technical difficulties. We thought we had all the bugs and kinks worked out before we got started, but it just turns out that is life and that is technology. So we'll let him get things figured out on the end, and then if he can get things set up there to get his screen captured correctly, then he can jump back in and take over for me. But we'll get going in the meantime. So again, very, very sorry for that, and I'm just going to just send out a quick invite here for everybody else, because we had lost a few people throughout the technical difficulties, and I can understand why. But we're going to get going here in literally 30 seconds. So one more sec and we'll get rolling. Thanks, guys. Sorry about that. Okay, sorry about that. So let's get firing away here. We are, just a reminder, it is non-farm payroll, and we are going to be observing what the market is doing Thursday and Friday. We typically don't trade on those 2 days, especially Friday, because we get whipsawed action all over the place, and it's not conducive to trading, especially if you're in positions. It's not nice getting locked out or stopped out of those positions. So we typically don't trade on Fridays, and on Thursdays, what we end up usually seeing right before the non-farm activities is a sideways market that just chops. It literally just consolidates sideways because it's building positions all over the place, and it's a bit difficult to trade because market really doesn't go anywhere most of the time. But with that being said, all of the trading can happen between Monday, Tuesday, and today. So we're going to go out and we're going to look for some trades here. With that being in mind, let's do what we normally do, run through the quick checklist here, and let's take a look at what the news events have in store for us. We are looking at, let me just give this thing a refresh here. Make sure they haven't added anything to the economic calendar. That's the one thing they like to do as well. I've seen it happen before where you'll see a calendar like this, and I just leave it open on my desktop and I don't manage it, throughout the week, and then I'll just come down here and select more to go into the next week when it's next week starting. And I found that I ran into trouble because I was I don't know what day it was. It was a Tuesday or Wednesday, and anyway, I'm going through, I'm looking at all the news events, and I'm trading accordingly, and all of a sudden the market just went nuts for some reason out of the blue. I'm thinking, what the hell just happened? And I go back to my economic calendar, And I'm like, well, I don't see any event here, so I figured, well, maybe I'll just try refresh. I hit refresh, and they put a whole bunch of economic news that they just sort of came out with at the last minute, and I just sort of injected it in there. So it's always good to make sure you hit refresh on the old news calendar, just to make sure you've got all the live current data. Anyway, with that being said, let's take a look into Wednesday and today and see what we've got. So we've got some euro happening here, lots of euro news. So I think I mentioned that in yesterday's trading session, that I would like to see a trade in the the pound dollar as opposed to the euro USD, but they both had some pretty good movement. Let me just zoom out here. They both have some pretty good movement. So this was Tuesday, and this was me trading here on Tuesday, and I had, what I wanted to see was basically price do this throughout the week. I wanted it to come down. So this was Tuesday. This hasn't happened yet. I wanted the price to come down and then go up from there. And it looks like price came down, but we didn't get to this consolidation level here that I was hoping for. Price stopped a little bit and did resume higher. And I'm just going to do something real quick here just so we can identify all the levels here that I'm looking at. Okay. So this tiny small consolidation area, you can see that the top of these candles right here, I was hoping price was going to come down to 122.80 and then rebound off of that, but we didn't quite get as deep of a retracement in on Tuesday. We were, what was the low on that candle? We were 123.35 basically. And again, it's going to be different on everybody's feed, so you got to make sure that you're just double checking that what your feed is telling you, because they do all differ. I mentioned that in previous live sessions, that all feeds are different. And if I call out a number, like for instance this one right here at 122.80, that the level is going to be different, plus or minus 5 pips on everybody else, depending on what broker you use. So just keep that in mind, please, when you are going forward. And sorry guys, I'm just double checking. So just so you know too, if you know of anybody who's planning on coming over and signing up to our website and taking advantage of all of our signals and all the stuff that we do, all the content that we provide, we did have a discount for 100 spots that was going to be open until basically the end of, or the start of the 31st. And so that time has just about come and gone. I added an extra hour in here because we had some technical glitches. Surprise, surprise. Sometimes websites aren't the easiest thing to run, but there's about an hour and a half left on the discount at $55 US. The price is going to go up from there. So everybody who's in now, congratulations. You got in at the discount rate because the price is going to jump by about 30% starting tomorrow. So if you have anybody or know anybody that wants to sign up, let them know they've got about an hour and a half to do that, and then we are going to, technically they could realistically sign up pretty much for the rest of today, the 31st, because it'll take me a little while to get all of the new algorithms changed in the software that takes all the credit cards and everything like that. So technically they could probably still sign up and get under the gun, but I officially got it on the website as closing down in an hour and a half. So anyway, just a little housekeeping aside, just wanted to mention that. And anyway, back to the Euro USD. I don't know why I was thinking that all of a sudden. So price didn't quite come down here into the consolidating area. And guys, just give me a yes or a no there if you can hear me on the screen. Please, just so that I know that I don't have my audio. Let's double check. I think my audio, I didn't turn it off, so I think we're good. Should be good, but just do me a favor and just give me a yes or a no there if you could. So price came down 123.50 the low was 123.34, 123.35, so it was off by about 50 pips, and it looks like it's rejected. Now we are just starting into today's candle, so just watch this. We could, I believe, the Monday and Tuesday trading has created the low of the week, and I think we're going to start trading higher. And we do have some levels that I had called a little bit further out. I think we're going to see come to fruition here. So price, I said on Tuesday, I want to see price come through and trade through this 123, basically the 124 big figure, and stay closed above it. So I want the candle to close above it. We're going to just zoom in here so you can see a bit better. So you can see this candle here, last week's candle closed above that. So that's kind of leading me to believe that this thing price is going to continue to push higher. Now again, you got to watch non-farm on Friday, because what they could want to do is they're coming down, and they're not quite coming in this consolidating area in here. They could use non-farm to drive it down into there and then scream it back up. So you got to kind of just watch that and make sure. Again, I don't have any live trades on, and you know, and we advise everybody not to have live trades on unless you're in the market. You know, unless you took a long down here. You know, a couple of 100 pips away from the current price action, you probably wouldn't have a problem. But if you're in tight, close to the market current price levels, and you're thinking, oh, don't worry, I'm not going to get stopped out. I mean, I've seen non-farm, you know, go 200 pips in either direction in some cases, and sometimes it's very muted. It just depends on what is on the economic calendar going forward. So you can never tell what's what's about to happen. So we always elect to not trade. Professional traders typically do not trade on Fridays, on the non-farm payroll days, and so neither do we. But anyway, for today, what I want to see here, I want to see prices come up to on the Euro USD. If we're going to continue, so again, Monday opened up, traded lower. Tuesday came out, just took out that previous low right here, and then skyrocketed from there. And we had a nice range actually. To take the bodies of those candles. I mean, we had about a 100 pip range on the Euro USD on Tuesday. So one of two things is going to happen. We're going to see continuation to the upside, I believe, and I think these levels up here are going to be a target for the end of the week here. I just want to get the high off of this candle here. 125, so you could call it 125.40. I don't know if you guys can see my let me just actually see that if I've got that captured or not. No, you guys can only see my my tabs here. So just below my tabs and on my currency pairs here, I've got all the levels. If you guys trade with MT4, you can see I've got all the levels, or you know that you got all the candle levels, the open, high, low, close of all the levels. There, but I don't have it in my screen that's being captured to you guys, but that's okay. So the level that we're looking at is 125.40, and I'd like to see that get taken out, and we're going higher. I mean, like I was saying, alluding to here on the weekly, we've got a lot of range in here, and price pushed up and closed higher than sort of this midway point in this consolidation here. A telltale sign that we're going to see a continuation to the upside is if we get a strong bull candle that will go through that and close higher than this dotted line that I've got here, basically. And we had that last week, and we actually price stabbed up to the well, like I say, just under 125.40. So this right here, this candle's high comes in, this big black down candle right here, this candle's high comes in at 125.70. So that might be a good target. Price come up and just sweep that area to 125.80. And I want to get a reading off of that one. That might be a bit far away. You know, but we're only, what are we trading? 124.30. If we go back out to that weekly candle, the high on this weekly candle, 125.70. And what did I say our current level was? We're 124. Oh yeah, so I mean that's a realistic target in my opinion. So I've already got the level marked out here on the chart. You see this right over here. See this candle high right here? I would be expecting price to come up, sweep that high by 10 to 20 pips or so, and it might even get to the 126 big figure. So I'm going to put another tag on there and shoot that out for a target. I think that's a very realistic target. We're only 12600. We're only a few. What do I have? 2 of those in there now. Try this one more time. Gotta love MT4 sometimes. There we go. So that's a good range. So we're 100. That'd be about 170 pips from now. That would be a nice haul here on the week. And so here's the thing. Prices come down. Opened up on Monday. This is Monday right here. This was Friday's close. Monday came down, traded traded softer, and Tuesday came down and just wicked just below it, and then accelerated off of that area. So it's leading me to believe that price wants to continue higher. And I'll go back and I'll analyze the US dollar index here real quickly, but you see how price has come back down to this consolidating area right in here. I believe that we're going to see prices come back down to here, right in here, and created its own consolidating area. And then we've expanded away from that. What I don't necessarily want to get long right here, but I would like to see, and we may have missed it. I'm just looking at this about 1, 2, 3, 4 hours ago. You see how price had come down on this candle here and came back to this consolidating area right in here again. I like how price did that because it's expanding away from these areas. And that's what I want to see when I'm getting long. I want to see price continually come back down to these consolidating areas, and now we've expanded away. So I would venture to say I would like to take a day trade, and I'd set my target. I don't necessarily know that I'm going to, where did that go? I don't think I would set my target at 126, just because 170 pips for a Wednesday on the Euro USD probably isn't very realistic. And to be honest with you, 125.40, that would probably be a good level to look at getting in long. So let's look at that now here. But I don't want to buy on this candle. As I say, we do not buy on on bullish candles. I don't want to chase price. I mean, if price just keeps trickling up and trickling up and trickling up and never giving me a down green candle, well, that's fine. I'm not going to take the trade. I mean, I want to trade, enter the trade on a black candle, on a bearish candle. That's where I want to be putting my trade in, because its price is closer to the market, and you cover your spread a lot quicker when you're going in the opposite direction of what that candle is doing. So typically you've got I don't know, depending on your feed, like here, let me see here. This broker here, let's just have a look. We are trading with almost a 2 pip spread, about a pip and a half spread, and it's just kind of varying from moment to moment, obviously. But check with your broker, find out what your spread is. But you can cover those spreads much quicker and get into profit if you're getting in on the opposite direction of what that candle is. So, excuse me, if I'm going long, I'm going to get in on a down candle. If I'm going short, I'm going to be getting in on an up candle. Now, what could happen? Excuse me, give me 1 second, folks. I've got sorry guys, I've been doing these live streams quite a bit and talking a lot, and it's actually starting to affect my voice a little bit. Apologies. But as I was saying, I think what we could see price doing here, I'm just going to get rid of this line here. I don't need that on there. Stops above here we're taking out, so we're good there. But I think what we could see is price do one of these come up, take out these highs here, and we could come lower. Now, I don't know if it wants to get lower into this consolidating area here or just back to this candle here, but we could look at price doing something to this effect. So it trades up, it pokes its head through, runs, I don't know, call it maybe 10 pips above. So that would be right about here. 7, 8, 9, 10. So yeah, you know, price runs right about here. I'm looking about 10 pips above this level here. So I'll just draw a level off of there quickly. And the high comes in. I want to try and be as precise as possible for you guys here. 124.53. 124.53. 124.53. Okay. Good enough. Okay, and then 10 pips above gives us right about, come on, you get there. Okay, so we'll just adjust this accordingly. Okay, sorry for all the detail, folks. I'm a detail-oriented person, and if things don't line up for me correctly, it kind of drives me crazy. So there we go. So that would be kind of what I'd be looking for, and then price to come back down and continue higher. Now, it may not want to come up there right now. It could just come right down here, in which case you could get in on a long and then watch price go higher. But that would be my target, 125.40, and that'd give you a nice 100 pip range. But as always, so this is what we do here. So our target, like I was saying, excuse me, guys. Apologize. 125.30, I think, was the high. 125.40. Sorry. So this would be our high for the day, for a day trade, of course. But you would always want to take profits. So let's say we got in, let's say for argument's sake, we got in right at the top of this candle at, or let's say we got in at 124.25, okay? Just for argument's sake, just to kind of keep the numbers easy here. Okay, 124.25. Well, if that's where I got in at, I'm taking profits right here. Okay, partial profits. So I want to take off, let's say I put a, and this is all hypothetical, I'm assuming you're taking a trade in your demo account. This is my demo account. There's no live trades going on here. But let's just assume that we did a, I don't know, 3-lot trade. I mean, something like that. Whatever. 3 minis. I don't care. 3 minis. Anyway, what I want to do is I want to take 1 or 2 of those mini lots off at 124.55 and then move my stop to break even. That way, if market comes up, pokes its head up, I take my profit and it comes and slams back down. It doesn't matter. We've got our profits. We've paid ourselves. We're okay. And I'm sure some of you have heard this before, but I'm going to beat it to death just because it's very, very important. And we actually had a trade that happened today that saw the exact same thing. It was on the US yen pair, and we had price run up to about 45 pips into profit. We took and paid ourselves at 30 pips. Price ran up about another 10 pips, and then it slammed down and stopped us out. But we didn't lose any money. Price, or we moved our stop loss up to break even at 30 pips and took some profits, and we were profitable even though we were incorrect on the overall price direction, and we had a target of about 100 pips out. We still made money because we keep those principles tight, and we make sure we adhere to them at all times. So anyway, this is sort of what I'm looking at here, just for a real quick sort of, and you know what, you could even close it. Price may not get up here today at all. It could. I've seen price just consolidate and go straight sideways a lot of times a few days before non-farms happen throughout the week. So I don't know what kind of week it's going to be. It could be fireworks. It could be very lackluster. I've seen both on non-farm payrolls, and so you just sort of never know what's going to happen with that. So I would elect to be very conservative with this trade. You look for an entry down here, and I'll just maybe type these guys out, so just in case here not clear, which should be buy target and that's target 1, okay, 7, target 1, and this would be target 2, so this would be long term. I don't want to be holding any trades, I mean, really into Thursday. I mean, I don't think I'd be too interested in that, and we may not get price trade up here. They may be saving this for non-farm on Friday to jam this thing up. So they could just come up and just sort of linger in this area in here, just sort of chopping sideways, you know, doing that today, and then, you know, who knows. So I don't really know what's going to happen, but that's kind of something I'd be looking at to occur. Now let's just confirm this, okay? So we've got an idea for the euro. We potentially, and sorry, I missed one thing, the most important thing, and before I jump over to the US dollar, we got to put our stop level in, okay? So let's look at this for a second. So if we're 124.25, I typically do not want to be putting anything in more than a 30 pip stop, especially what I'm thinking price is going to do this week. So I want to try and keep it a little bit tight, but I don't want to be so tight that we get whipsawed out and we get stopped right before the price moves up in our intended direction. So, with that being said, let me just zoom in here. I don't want to see price come any lower than this candle here. I mean, if price wants to trade back down to this consolidating range here, I'd be surprised, because you can see how price came down. It gathered and accumulated longs. It expanded up and came back down. It reaccumulated longs in here, and now we're starting to see some expansion again. Watch what price does here. I want to see what happens at 124.25. We should see a reaction in here, and price should start moving up. If price wants to come down, so what I'm saying to you is, don't buy this immediately if it comes down to this level. Watch what price does, and if it hangs out here and doesn't seem to want to move, wait for the next candle to open up and see what that one does. And if it punches any lower than here, then just hold off on that whole theory, because they may want to come down and grab some stuff in here. They shouldn't need to, again, because they came down. The low in this candle here was 123.36. The low in this candle was 123.40. So they came in and took it by about 4 pips. So if they're running the stops here, ran the stops there, they've got all the liquidity they need. They jammed up the market, the price, and I think they're seeking liquidity higher. And again, if price goes lower than this candle here, just watch what we're doing here. It should come down, hit it, and then want to reject and go higher, and that's when you get in. But just watch that it doesn't go lower than this candle. So back to the stop loss here. If price comes down really to, well, you know, see, I've got it pretty much on this line right here, 123.95. If I see price go down to there, I'm going to be getting out of the trade, because in my opinion it shouldn't need to come back down to these areas in here in order to get a long off. So that's what I'd be looking at. Zoom out here and get all my levels back up again and put it in, stop. Okay, so there we go. Side note, guys, if you have any questions about anything, please type it in the chat here. I've got my chat window open here on my in another window over my left eye here, so I can see if you guys type anything here. I'll do my best to answer any questions for you. Okay, so we've got our theory. What I'm thinking is potentially going to happen on the Euro USD. Let's flip over to the US dollar index and just confirm that that is what we are going to see and what's going to happen. So I just reset this chart recently. I got to set up some levels again, but I had mentioned the level of this consolidating area right here, the mid-range, was 188. I'm sorry, 188 was 88.75 is the exact mid-range of this. ish, and that's body and wick. That's the entire range. And price basically came down here, and it held on it and stopped on it and didn't want to go any further. And that was last week, and then the start of this week, right? So this was Friday, and then the start of this week, it traded up, created the high on Tuesday, and now we're trading softer. So I think we're going to see lower prices. But you see what price is doing. So it came down here on this was this Wednesday, Tuesday, Monday, Friday, Thursday. So this was Wednesday of last week. Price had come down. Thursday it kicked through and then rejected just as quick as it went down. And it pretty much hung right around this level at 88.75. So that kind of leads me to believe that it's a very significant level of support and resistance. And you can see already, price has already come in here and paused right in here once, twice, 3 times. It took 3 weeks for price to get through this level here. And what I can do, maybe we should just take a real quick journey into this area here and just see how many times price danced off of this level. I'd just be very curious to find out. And again, only because it is a very significant price level. So you can see here, price came up, really consolidated, busted out, came back down, retested the consolidation area over here, started to modestly trade up, and then finally got the legs, powered through it, and sat on this level 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 days it took to clear this level at 88.75. It's a pretty significant level, and so I'm not surprised to honestly see what we're seeing back at this level again, where prices come 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times now. 5th time we're retesting the same level again. So it's very significant. Now, I'm calling lower on the US dollar index, but I did mention that we could be in for a bit of a shift coming up here. About every 3 months or so, the market tends to change direction. And the last 3 months was right here. You can see price ran up, changed direction. We're in a new 3-month swing. Price came down, down. And the end of that 3-month swing is basically today. Excuse me. So I think one of 2 things is going to happen again. It's always 50-50 chance. Price is going to stay consolidated in this area, or we're going to see a retracement higher, or non-farmer is going to push this thing down through, and we're going to get into the next level of consolidation, which is right over here, which is where my eye is going to. So that's sort of what our targets are, and we can throw some lines up on that now. Just so we can kind of see what we're looking at. We're about 86. I called this out last week. I just reset my charts again here, so but it's about there as our next downside target, right after the lows that have been created over here. So it would actually, technically, it would be this. It would be the lows first. I want to see price come in and convincingly sweep those lows, head lower, and then we're looking at the top of the consolidation level over here, and then from there we're going to measure out if it price stabs into there and it keeps going down and starts closing down into this consolidation range here. Then we'll look at the midway point and then the lows again, and then from there it's pretty much a free fall down into this consolidation area over here. Now that would take a very long time. I mean, you got to look. You know, price has taken 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 weeks just to travel 550 pips. So if price does convincingly get, through here this week, and then trade here into this week, into the following week, into February, then to get down to that next consolidating area, that's another 600 pips. you know, we'd be looking at another 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, you know, probably 2, 3, 4 months before we actually finally saw price get down there, if that's as bearish as they want to take it. We never know. There's a lot of stuff happening right now with the U.S. economy. They've got their State of the Union this evening. They've got the Fed came out with some interest rate announcements a couple weeks back, raised the rate, and so I think we could potentially see a shift. I don't know. We won't know until it happens, and but we got to make sure that we stay nimble with our trading and make sure that we're on top of it. So if it does shift, we're ready. We see the levels, we've got them plotted out, and we know what our targets are going to be. And we're long, we're short, we're long, we're short, and sometimes, you know, we just got to flip the switch just like that. So you got to be a very, very nimble trader. Anyway, that's what I'm looking at. So to kind of coincide with our Euro USD long idea, I think we are seeing the confirmation on the US dollar index. And in case you're wondering, if you're new to trading or not sure, I've mentioned this before, but the way that we get our market bias is obviously we take our news drivers and everything like that, our fundamentals. We figure out what the strength of the currency, but then from there we go in and we trade the majors. So we trade everything based with the U.S. dollar index in it. So the Euro USD, the pound dollar, the U.S. CAD, Aussie dollar, etc., etc., etc. And if the U.S. dollar index is bearish, everything with every pair that has the U.S. dollar as the back or the end currency, we'll see the exact opposite happen of what the U.S. dollar is doing. Every currency that you see with U.S. dollar in the front of that currency pair, you will see the same thing happen as the U.S. dollar index. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense to you. And I'll give you an example. So U.S. yen, bearish. Okay, bearish. U.S. dollar, bearish. That's correlated USD, USD as a front pair. Okay. Inverse happens, the exact opposite happens, Euro USD, right? Bullish, right? And because the USD is in the back of that currency basket, so the USD or Euro USD goes up, pound USD, same thing, right? Bullish, price goes up. So that's kind of what we're looking at there. Just in case, again, if you're new, now you know. If you didn't know before, so you can apply that to your trading method. So we are seeing, I'm just going to drill down into this one last time here. We are seeing, in my opinion, continued bearishness. Price is making a very convincing run past this middle level here, and I think if we get price closing down under here on the day, and we haven't had that happen yet. Price has not closed down below that low yet. See how it's wicked down, wicked down, wicked. But we haven't had it close down yet. Well, this is the first candle that's opened this low so far in this whole little consolidating series here, and you can see these day dividers on here, right? Price came down, wicked through it, traded. I mean, this is it spent some time, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 hours down below this line here, and then but traded up, closed higher, right? Same thing here. Price came down, spent 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hours, trickled back up, came back down for a couple hours, traded back up, closed higher, right? Didn't even come down the line, closed higher, and just wicked into it for 1 hour yesterday, closed higher. So now we're going to see what's happened. What's going to happen here? I'm very curious to find out if they want to close this thing lower, because I think if they close this thing lower, then that's just going to be the cattle, basically the last domino in the sequence, and I think the whole set is going to start falling, and then we're going to start to see lows down around here. So that's what I'd be looking at going forward. So continued bearishness on the US dollar index equates to continued bullishness on the Euro USD, which would allow for this trade to essentially pan out if this is going to work. So what we are looking here then, right, same thing, just a little bit opposite. Price comes down, wicks up, takes some of the levels down here, pushes back up, and then resumes its bearishness back down. So that's what we'd be hoping to see, because that's basically what we've got played out in the Euro USD. So, okay. If price comes down, I'll watch this here for about another half an hour or so. And if you're just joining us now, you didn't miss much. We had some technical difficulties which had prevented us from getting on live for about a half an hour. So we really are just getting started here. But I don't want to spend too much time this evening, just because, again, it's non-farm week. There's not going to be a ton of action. I don't think we're going to see fireworks or anything tonight. You know, we could see some movers, but we'll just sort of run through the charts like I normally do, and we'll see where we're at. So there's a lot of shrapnel on this chart, as you can see, and I'm kind of debating whether just to start fresh here. But you can see here we were calling some shorts on the market. This was, this is Wednesday, so on Monday we were calling shorts on this market, and price actually didn't quite get down to our target here, 139.50, and then it started reversing, but it's a pretty significant level that it hit, and basically the top of this old consolidating range over here. Price came down and tagged off of this area here, reversed and went higher. So the trade technically I don't believe it triggered, if memory serves me correctly. It wasn't myself that put this one in. I think it was one of my analysts for Monday. Great trade though. I mean, or maybe it did trigger. I honestly can't remember. I think maybe it was down here we were looking, 140.85, and then we got a rip down to here. So I'd have to double check, guys. I apologize. I'm a little off my game right now just because I had to pick up this session here at the last minute, but I think we got about pretty close to a 100 pip run on it. But in any case, price has reversed. So again, Monday opened lower. Tuesday came in, swept Monday's lows, came down, traded lower, rejected off of this old consolidation level in here. Okay, and you see how the bodies stopped right here, wicked down, body opened, wicked down, and then rejected right off the top of the level of that consolidating area in there. So there's some strength there, there's some support there. If you're a support and resistance trader, you know, that's classic support right there. And we had the price, our target, going a little bit deeper, but for the most part, we expected a reversal in this area in here, for the most part. So I believe that trade panned out quite nicely, and we saw some captured a lot of pips on that one, but that was earlier in the week. So if you're just joining us now, it doesn't help you too much, unfortunately. But going forward on this pair, I had mentioned that I was interested more so in the Euro USD, and again, just because of all of the news events that were coming up, and I just want to look and see real quick here when the first news event for the day is coming out. I think it's in about an hour here. Euro, we've got some medium impact news coming out, yeah, in about a half an hour. So we could see the euros start moving. So I'll stick around for about another half an hour until that 2 a.m. time, New York time. And I just want to see if we do get some drivers on the euro, see if we get price do this on it, and then I'd be looking at a buy and then continuing it higher. So we should start to see that. It's 122 right now, so yeah, about 30-40 minutes we should start to see some movement on that. So we'll watch for that. And again, guys, you know, I'm just up here kind of babbling. I'm going to run through a few more markets. If you guys have any questions about anything, just, you know, type away, fire away down below, and I'll do my best to answer those. But anyway, back to the cable. Let me get rid of some of this off of here, and we can have a look and see what we're doing here. So these levels here, 142.60, 143.45, those would all be suspect targets, I believe, and those are just these highs here. So I think, so this was Friday's high of last week. Those are all going to be the targets that I'd be looking for, the short-term targets. And we could get a good mover. The pound dollar, it saw a rip, 175 pip movement today, so pretty damn big range. I don't necessarily think that we'll see that on Wednesday. It could certainly happen. Like, I could be proven wrong. It's happened before in the past. But I'm more inclined to believe, just because of the news and everything else, that they may kind of hold this one a little bit in consolidation and let the euro run and grab some of this, because that's sort of what the euro's been doing in compared to the pound. Um, so the pound came up. It's had some nice movement here. The both pairs have had some nice movement here, and you can see price really expanded away from this little stair step level in here. Price really came up and drove up, and I mean, we're talking, 350 pips of movement there. Had a nice retrace, nice decline, about the same amount, and now I think we're going to start springboarding higher. But you got to watch, okay? You got to watch and see. Could be a failure swing, right? So price jams up, jams up, jams up. Does it take out this high convincingly, or does it wick above and start falling? If it does, they're going to come lower, and they could come back down to this tiny consolidation area in here, because we really haven't seen price return down to it. So I'm going to mark that on the chart just because I think it could be significant. It might not be, right? I mean, we could be, so right around, right where this green line is right here, from anywhere in between there and in between this low wick here, we could see price return down to. So what I'm saying is, you got to watch. Price could do this and then have a big deep retracement. It's non-farm, anything could happen. I don't know. I don't really want to trade this one just because we got a nice trade in on Monday and Tuesday, and I don't like to push my luck on certain pairs. I don't like to keep going in and going in and going in and going in on a regular basis. I like to switch it up a little bit, and especially with the Euro USD and the pound dollar, these two are so closely correlated, and it's all sort of defined off the Euro GBP. And I don't really want to get in. I don't really feel like getting into this tonight. If you guys have a question on what the correlation is between the Euro GBP, the Euro USD, and the pound dollar, you can ask me, and I can maybe do this in a later session. But typically, because of this cross pair, kind of a long story short sort of idea, they typically only will allow one or the other pair to move. And I mean significant moves. I mean, one will lead, the other will lag, but they don't go both at the exact same time, like crazy. So that's kind of what I mean by that, if that makes any sense at all. Like you can see the Euro USD is muted compared to the pound dollar, right? I mean, some big movement up in here, and then a big movement back down. This had a nice movement up here, but it definitely didn't see the lows, like you can see here. See this consolidation area in here, okay? Hasn't returned back down to it. Where the pound dollar, right? See the consolidation? It did return back down to it. So there's a lot more movement in this one. And I think they've let this one go for a little bit, and now I think they're going to let the euro start to stretch its legs a little bit, in my opinion. Take it for what it's worth. This may not happen. I mean, right? Price just could keep going all the way up, and you never get in. I mean, just green candle after green candle after green candle, and if price goes up there, well, oh well. It's not the end of the world, because there's always another trade tomorrow. But I want to look and see what the strength of the move up is. I want to see how deep the retracement comes when it does come, and see the strength and how it repels off of these lower levels here. So I think the trade's in the euro personally. But we'll see what happens with the pound dollar. Anyway, moving on. I wanted to show you guys this. I completely forgot about this pair. I analyzed this yesterday, and was anybody here on the live session yesterday that I did? I'm just curious. Anybody out there? Hello? There's a bunch of us watching here, so if you could just let me know, just yes or no, if you were in the live session from Tuesday New York Open, or I'm sorry, Tuesday London Open. Anyway, I'll let you guys do that, but I wanted to bring your attention to this because I was just going through the charts sometime this afternoon. I didn't really do a lot of trading this morning either, because I was I was up late the previous night, and I was kind of getting some sleep, but catch up on some rest. But I had called some levels in here, and I was kind of going through and analyzing it and saying, yeah, it looks like we're going to see a continuation, and you know, here's the bull trend line, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And I just sort of, I said, I said, so this is Wednesday, this was Tuesday, this hadn't happened yet. Price was sitting somewhere in between here, I believe. I think it was actually this candle right up here. It was making the high up here, and I said, what I'd like to see is price come down, stab down just below this consolidation area here, grab up some of the liquidity, and trade higher. And I said this trend line would probably be pretty close to where it would go. Look what price did, and I did not. I swear, you can go back to the live video I did from yesterday, and you can see I put this in. I didn't alter this or in any way. I didn't change anything. I just stumbled across this afternoon and thought it was kind of funny. Price literally came down like within a couple of pips of the low of this and just reacted beautifully. I mean, just beautifully. And that was, I mean, shit, that's a 240 pip movement that I had called there. I mean, it's just gorgeous. You don't always get them like that, but when you do, man, they work out really nicely. I didn't take the trade. To be honest with you, I thought the trade was in the cable. At the time, I was right, and we had some nice movement on the cable. No, I'm sorry, that's not right. Where the hell did I say that trade was yesterday? In oil, I believe, is what I was looking for. We'll come to that in a minute, but I just sort of quickly went through this pair, did some analysis on it, and called out some levels, and I was like, yeah, I think we're going to come up, and this will be our first target, just sort of the low of this before we saw the downward decline, and price traded right up into that area, and that's where it's sitting right now, basically. So I called sort of the low into here, and that's pretty much where we're at. So you could even call it a 154.45. You know, that would be a good level, but I don't know if anybody got that off. That'd be awesome if they did. If you did, let me know. It'd be great if you took a demo trade on that one and got on that one, because it's just so easy to identify, but I just, for whatever reason, it wasn't resonating with me for some reason. I did a lot of analysis on it, but I just didn't. I was like, don't really want to take the trade. So, and I think what my thoughts on it were probably because there's another consolidating area down here, and I wasn't sure if price was going to go reject off of it, come all the way down, and then go higher. So maybe that's what I was thinking. Anyway, so that's what happened on the pound yen. Going out even further, again, you know, you got to look at the daily. Some nice bullish action on here, and this is a gigantic run up. This has just been a great move on the pound yen. $1,600 pip run, you know, not bad. And that was just from September of like 4 or 5 months ago. That's a hell of a run. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 months ago. Yeah, so I mean, if you can get in on a run like that, kudos to you. That's a great swing trade. I did not get in on that, but let's get rid of this. But you can see here some telltale signs. We had a failure swing under here. Price failed. Let me just see if I can get this in here. So price came down here, consolidated a little bit, kind of thought about it, and then exploded higher. Price came back down one more time. Failure swing, telltale sign, expanded up, and if you didn't get in here, the market gave you another opportunity to get in right here at this next consolidation level, right in here. So there was a couple of opportunities to get in this. So if you can get some movement on this, you can get some great movers on it. But we'll be looking to see where this one wants to go. You know, there's another consolidating level up here that I identified, and you know, price right now, we're kind of trading right in the middle of the range of this. So I identified some levels above this where I think we could certainly get up to, and that would again coincide with the pound dollar of reaching the highs up here pre-Brexit. So we could see that, you know, again, pre-Brexit highs right up in here, and then it wouldn't be much of a stretch for it to push up into these highs up in there. So that's the pound yen. But in terms of a trade, let me just look at this for a second here. I think we're going to see some rejection. So price just kind of is coming back in off of these lows right here. Right? And this is a fairly significant level, support and resistance level in here. And see price, what it's done. Right? So at this 154.45 level, you know, or 154.50 level, whatever you want to call it, depending on your broker, but prices come up, it's hit it, it tagged into it once, traded off, came back up, traded through it once, traded back in twice, three, screwed around in here for, you know, a good, you know, range in there. Finally decided, yeah, okay, let's go through it. Came back, returned right down to it, like almost to the pip here, exploded off of it, failure swing, and now we're seeing lower prices on it. And again, came down, grabbed some liquidity under the market, and now we're right back at that inflection level again. So it's going to do, right, I keep saying this, it's going to do one of two things. Right? Price is either going to go higher or lower. Shocking, right? But I think we could see a bit of a retracement before it goes higher, if it does want to indeed go higher with the pound dollar. So again, it's pretty much trading lockstep with the pound dollar. You see the rise in the pound dollar here, failure swing, prices come down and rebounded off of these old levels in here, and then we're electing to trade a little bit higher. Oh, sorry, 1 second, guys. I'm just getting a note from our other analyst. Oh, never mind, he is out. Okay. He's got some other stuff he's got to do, so I'll finish off the session here. Yeah. Anyway, okay. So where was I? So yeah, the pound yen's pretty much lockstep with the pound dollar. So like I say, came up, created the high, failure swing, come down, retested some levels in here. Now the pound yen went deeper, right? You got to keep that into consideration. Went deeper than this consolidation range in here, whereas the pound dollar did not. So there's definitely strength in this pair here, but right, we're still back at this inflection level. So this pair isn't quite as strong as the pound dollar. I want to see what happens at this level here. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a bit of a rejection. And this could be it, right? You see how price came up, but it hasn't quite hit it yet. It's good. Yeah. Just double check before I say that. Low on this candle comes in at, on my feed anyway, 154.42. High on this candle comes in at 154.41. So it just missed it. That could be all the reaction that you see. I mean, you look over here and where it hit these levels, exploded through it. Came back down, exploded through it, meandered in here. Tag, just fell underneath it, and then right. So I'm kind of expecting a little bit of action in here, around here. I wouldn't be surprised if price just kind of banged up against this level 2 or 3 times and then decided to go through it. But you know, we could see a bit of a deeper retracement, so you got to always keep that in mind. Price may want to come back down to these levels here, so I wouldn't necessarily go in and just do a blind buy on this. You know, and I say that now, and that's pretty much what I said, you know, on Monday or Tuesday whenever I did this analysis. I said, yeah, I don't know if I want to buy it now because price could slide down, and then just ripped up 180 pips on me. So you know, maybe the same thing might happen again. At your own discretion, I guess you could take that one. But I can throw out some levels, and we can see what happens. That's for sure. So I like how prices come up in here. It's trading very, very efficiently in here. There's really no open spaces that we got to worry about. Come down, trade, rejected, balanced price range in here. Come up, taking the highs, came off, rebalanced in there, and spent a little bit of time in here. There's not a lot of area under here. I think price would want to come in. You know, we may just get a little bit of a consolidating range in here. So I mean, price may range in from, what's the high of that candle? 154. So let's just see here. Let me put out a couple of numbers. And then this was the 45 level, 154.45. So what we could see here, and I'm just spitballing, you know, we may not see this, but come on, grab that arrow, damn it. There we go. Okay. So what we could see is price just, and I'll flip down to a 15-minute, might make it a little easier to see this. Right, okay, so these are the two levels that I marked out. So we could just kind of see this happening, really. I mean, price may want to do this for the next 4 or 5 hours, right? I mean, I don't know. Like I say, I think the trade is in the euro, to be honest with you. So they could consolidate this pair before sending it higher. I don't know, right? They may want to do that and then start to kick higher. So you could, if price wants to come back down to this 154 even level, you could get along in here. I'd do a tight stop though. I do not want to see price come down into here at all. So I wouldn't even give it 30 pips, which is a typical standard stop. I would literally give it maybe 20 tops, 153.80. If price wants to come below this consolidating level here, I don't want any interest. I don't want to have anything to do with it. So you could maybe put a tight stop in there and then put a target in. Like I say, if price comes back down to this 154, somewhere in there, 154, 154.05, 154.10, you know, somewhere in that range. And then I would be looking at this level right here as a good target at 155.39. That would be fairly conservative, a conservative range for a pair like this. Our average, I should throw my ATR, my weekly ATR on this so I can get it. But we're about the average pip range on this is about 150 pips ish, 150 to 200 pips. Call it 150 for argument's sake. So let's say you got a long in at 154. 150 pips takes you right into about this level right in here. You may get a little bit more juice on it. All the power to you, but I would, if you're a pound yen fan and you like to trade this, I would suggest that could be the level that you might be looking at. So any questions on that? I don't see you guys asking a lot of questions, so I'm either boring the hell out of you all, or you got what you needed and you're leaving. I don't know. But anyway, I'm only going to be around for about another 20 minutes. I just want to see the reaction on the euro and see what it does here. I want to see if this comes to fruition, and then I'm going to be getting out of here. So pound yen, US CAD, this is such an ugly pair. I do not want to be trading this. Overall, I think this is what's going to happen, but I'm not interested in taking any positions on this until price gets below this 122.40 level. That's all I'm going to say on the US dollar. Sorry, the US CAD. Aussie dollar. Actually, it's interesting. There was some high impact news on the Aussie dollar, and I just want to talk about this one for just a real brief second. Where's that news? There it is here. Aussie dollar. You know what? Where the hell is it? Oh, right here. Yesterday. High impact news on the Aussie dollar, on the Australian dollar. Sorry. Two high impact news events. 7:30 p.m. This was yesterday's trading. Wasn't so high impact. That was right here, I believe. Is where the trading was. 7 p.m. New York time is, I believe, 5 GMT. Is that right? So I could be wrong. Maybe it was over here. Hang on, let me throw my data divider on here. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, that's right. So it was right here. So I think it was this candle right here. What the hell is that? It was this candle basically right here. They jammed it down and then slowly ran it up. That was the high impact news. It's ridiculous. It was a joke. So that's what I mean. Sometimes you get these news events and they're totally lackluster. And really, you got to look at this. What has this thing been doing the past week? You know, what is this? Looks like a pretty big consolidation area to me, especially this. Look at this. That's a seek and destroy day if I ever saw one. But yeah, it's just been in a very, very tight range. It's consolidating, coiling up like a spring. Price convincingly went through up here, and then it's just been doing nothing ever since. Probably waiting for the all the news events on Friday to do anything like everything else, and so it's probably just going to go sideways. So if you're a fan of the Aussie dollar, I don't have anything for you on it because I just don't see anything that I like. Long term, see how prices come down. I think we're going higher long term, obviously, because it's right. Same thing as I mentioned before, inverse relation to the, and it's had such a great run, just an almost vertical bullish run. But now, right, we took out these highs over here, and price is starting to not convincingly wanting to go through that right now. So I'm wondering how much higher it wants to go right away off the hop. Now again, the U.S. dollar starts to drive lower. It's going to take this one with it, and this one's going to start screaming higher. But I just, right now, there's no trade. I don't see anything in there. Price is literally just sitting in the, I mean, I'm not going to take this as part of the consolidating level, but I'm just going to drop a fib from here to here, and you can see the 50% level. That's 50% of the consolidation area right there. Price is right at it. Like, and I use that level because you look at what price is doing here. Comes up, bangs on, bang, 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 bang. Trade through, trade back down, bang, 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 bang. Trade up, trade down. I mean, it's just a thousand different levels on here that price is looking at trading at. So nothing there that I see, but here's something that may happen. This is a prediction. Okay. And I'd have to get exact levels on this. This is around about 80.80. That's, yeah, we'll call it that. What I would not be surprised, I'm going to put this on the chart now. If it comes to fruition, I'm going to be astounded. But I saw a trick from a guy a while ago, and basically, so you see this consolidating area in here, okay? Prices come in, we've picked our level, 50% range, the mid-range of this consolidation level, 80.80, okay? And when price explodes out of this, and let's say it goes higher, okay, and we start getting up into these levels above the old high here, and, you know, who knows, maybe we go up into the weekly or whatever. Price has a tendency to come back down to the consolidating ranges, like Ed said before. We all know that price comes back down to the consolidating ranges. I would not be surprised if price does, and I don't know how high it's going to go. Whatever, you know, maybe it goes 300 pips straight vertical. Maybe it goes 100. Maybe it goes, you know, 80. I don't know, but it typically happens a couple of days, no longer than a week. If I can remember right, it might be 3 days max that it has to occur for it to be valid. So price moves out, trades out of this range, you know, 100 pips, 150 pips, 200 pips, whatever. Price has a tendency, for whatever reason, it likes this level, 0.8080. I've seen this time and time and time again. When price does this, it's literally to the pip, 80.80, if that's the exact level. And again, could be different on your feed, could be 80.85, whatever the hell the mid-range of this consolidating area is in here. But they have really, really, really worked this area for the past 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 days. So it's a very, very significant area. You know, and the same thing, you know, look at here. Look, price traded up. This isn't the exact consolidation level. I'd have to dial it in and find out where the exact, you know, 50% level of it is. But look what price did. Exploded out, came back up, and this was, you know, from when it exploded out, you know, 120 pips. What did it do? 1, 2, 3 days later, came back down to pretty much the middle of the consolidation and then exploded back up again. I'm not saying it happens every single time or anything like that, and this was a pretty muted expansion, but we could see that exact thing happen here. So I'm going to leave that on the chart. I just want to see, for curiosity's sake, if it's going to happen again, because I have seen it a lot, and it's always after the fact I look at it and say, oh shit, there's that level. Price traded right back down to it. And so this time I'm going to mark it. I'm going to leave this here. I'm going to come back to it. I don't know when price is going to break out. I'm assuming Friday, and then that would mean, you know, Monday, Tuesday, price would want to come back down to this level at some point in time, and we'll see if it happens. So I'll leave this on the chart until next week, and we'll revisit that. New Zealand dollar, not. This one actually seen a little bit of leadership to the upside, isn't it? And price hit these levels here, rejected, consolidating, and now you can see in it, we've got a nice move on the, unfortunately, we're about 12 hours too late for this, so if you saw this one and you got into it, congratulations. But same type of idea here, right here, guys. And you can see this one, same as the Aussie, right? You can see this consolidating area. Consolidated, expanded out, came back to it once, and then it's traded higher from there. This one actually came out, consolidating area in here. Right? Expanded out, came back down, actually tagged off that area once. That whole idea I just gave you again. Tagged off of it once, tagged off of it twice, and then went higher. So nice little move on that. You don't get a huge range on the New Zealand dollar. That's only about 100 pips, but it's a good range. So on this guy here, if we, let's say that's our target at 74, you know, 74.40, I would say that would probably be a good target. I'll just put a price level up there. I don't trade the New Zealand dollar very much, but I just figured I'm killing about 10 minutes here before US Euro USD news comes out, so I want to see what happens to it. So I'm just sort of going through some stuff here and spitballing with you guys. 74.45. I'm sorry, 74.45, 74.40. It's getting late. Or early, depending on where you're at in the world. I'm in North America myself. But what I would suggest here, depending on how much lower price wants to go, we may not see a return any lower than its current levels right here. Ideally, I'd like to see the price come back down to this green line that I got right there, and then go higher. That would be a nice little long scenario if we're going to see continued bullishness on this, which, right, I mean, again, same thing with the Euro USD. We're going to see bearishness, we're going to see bullishness on this. So yeah, that's not a bad little trade there. If you can get price to come down into the entry level, that would be okay. But I'll leave that one up to you. I don't want to go into that one too much. Crude oil has seen a nice healthy decline here, nice retracement. Prices come up. We're kind of trading right around that 80% retracement level. Sorry, it did, and then it's rejected, and now it's trading a little bit higher. My bias is bullish on crude. I've mentioned that before, but now it's just going sideways. Like, it doesn't really act like it wants to go higher, and to start coming back in here. So it might be, you know, short-term bearishness, and maybe we'll be looking even down to the 62.25 levels. You know, something like this. I'd be surprised if it wants to get all the way back down there. I'm kind of thinking the low end would be this 63.50, in and around that area. For the low end, I don't necessarily know that price would need to go much lower than that. But you got to see here what price did. It just came down. See this low here? Price just came down, snagged it, took some liquidity, and now it's starting to trade higher. So we'll see if it wants to get through this small consolidation area right in there. And if it wants to get through here, then it's going to keep going up, in my opinion. I think they've taken price down quite a bit. They've soaked up a lot of liquidity. Ultimately, I mean, I'm very bullish on this, and I think 67.50 is going to be a target pretty soon. I don't know that it'll get there this week, maybe even next week. But we just got to get rid of out of the short-term bearish play that is evolving here. and it's going to be either here and it's going to go higher, or we're going to look at 62.25 to be the low end of that bounce. So we'll see what happens there, but again, you got to keep your eye on things. So anyway, that's crude oil, and let's check back on the euro quickly. Still nothing much at all. These aren't lining up, so I'm paying attention to those. Yeah. Oh, excuse me, guys. Sorry. It's been a very long day today. I was actually going to let my associate jump in here and do, our other analyst here, I was going to let him jump in and do the trading session today, but he had technical difficulties, so he wasn't able to get on, so we'll get him sorted out for next week. He can look forward to him jumping on for next week, but yeah, I wasn't planning on doing the session today. I was just going to get him, make sure everything was running smoothly, and then we ended up, he was having problems and couldn't get in, so we had to switch off. So it is what it is, I guess, unfortunately. You gotta make do with what you got, but I was planning on actually going to bed and getting a good night's sleep, because I will be doing a live session tomorrow, again, same time, same place, 12 a.m. New York time. And not a lot, just to give you the heads up, if you come in on that session, not a lot's going to happen on that session, just because I won't be recommending any trades. It'll be a short session. I'll probably keep it to about a half an hour, 20 minutes. We'll just sort of take a recap of what happened today, see if the levels that we had called out today got tagged, and we'll maybe do some projections for where I think non-farm payroll is going to take price to. And then we'll pretty much wrap it up. So tomorrow will be a pretty quick session. Again, I'm not putting any trades out Thursday or Friday, and then we'll resume trading again. We'll start looking at the market and analyzing it. We'll throw out our weekly look-ahead videos on Sunday, so you can look forward to those hitting the website on Sunday. And then we'll be back at it, sending out signals again for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday next week. So that's what we're looking for. And then, sorry, I should mention as well, too, Friday, we've got another live session at 9 o'clock a.m. Trading the S&P market. So if you're an S&P trader, I highly recommend you take advantage of that. It's going to be after all the news gets released and everything like that, so there could be some great trades to have on Friday. So check that out. So anyway, this is still developing, not doing a whole bunch here. We're about 4 minutes away from news release, the first news release, I should say. Where are we here? Tuesday, Wednesday. So the first one comes out at 2, next one is in an hour from now, and then we got some high impact at 5. I'm not going to be sticking around for these, but I just want to see if this drives this down into our buy area, and then we can start to see these really propel price higher, you know, up into our target zones, up into here. So that would be a great haul on the day. But the exact opposite could happen, right? I mean, it could, that news event could kick it up here, take out the stops, drop price lower, and come and fall this way. I don't think that's going to happen, just because we traded lower Monday, Tuesday, and then Wednesday just completely broke out. I think we're going to finish the week higher. That's my overall projection for this, but we're just going to have to wait and see. And I mean, I guess we had a candle here that was bearish, but it didn't quite get low enough for me. I would have liked to see it come down into this area here, but if anybody got long, you could have probably got long at 24.35, somewhere in there, and you'd be up about 10 pips right now. But I'd just be careful, because I think we may see this happen. So I want to see what happens here in the next couple of minutes. But that's about it. Bitcoin, I'll just yap about real quick, 30 seconds, and I'll go back to the euro. I mentioned here there's a bit of a wedge play forming here, just a consolidating area. You can see price broke through that today now, finally. Gave it up. I was hoping, I'll just zoom in here a little bit. I was hoping that price in this consolidating area here was going to come up and tag off of this lower area up in here and then roll over. Didn't quite get that high though. I was hoping it was going to basically break this high here, but price just traded softer on Bitcoin here. But this is my first target area. I think we'll probably get that here tomorrow or Friday, I would imagine, and then we'll see how much lower price wants to go from there, or if that's it and it finally wants to turn around. I'm not picking the low or anything on this at all. I don't think, I mean, you definitely don't want to be picking lows on the market. You know, like, I mean, how many people thought this was the low? You know, oh, that's the low, buy, 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 buy. Price kind of meanders on up here and then crushes them and takes them out of the market. I don't know, you don't want to pick the lows, right? You want to be very convinced that it comes down, takes out the low, and convincingly starts trading back up before you get in. So anyway, I think long term, like I say, we're going to be higher on Bitcoin, but I think short term, the next couple of weeks, I think we're going to start trading down into these areas here. So let's get rid of some of this crap on this thing here. Yeah, so that's kind of what my thoughts are in Bitcoin. I think 83.30, that's my target for the next 2 days, and I think that could easily get down there. We're at 99.46 right now, so I mean that's only 2,000 pips away, so just under. So I think it'll happen very, very easily once it makes a commitment to get out of this consolidation range here and drive down in there. So we'll see what happens there. And I had mentioned before, I'll just go back to the euro quickly. Yeah, there we go. News event is out. Seeing a bit of bearishness on this. So let's see how low this wants to go. Computer's making all sorts of noises. What's going on here? Don't know. Just kind of watch and see what's happening there. I might actually load up my. I've got a couple of demo feeds here that I run off of. I might actually load up my other demo and just maybe even put a demo long on here now while we're talking. Give me a second here. This thing's thinking. Yeah, we're seeing a nice rejection off of that level. News driving it down. Come on, baby, keep going. Oh, my computer is acting. Computer is very, very slow. Very slow. So how far away are we? We are 16 pips away. I'd like to see a nice convincing couple of down candles here and then look at getting in long. So we'll see. So just in case you're wondering, I use this platform here for my analysis only. Again, it's a demo account. There's nothing going on in this, but I don't take trades off of this because it distracts me. And having that in there, I only use this account for analysis. So I have just another demo account that I use to take demo trades on, and you can see here just so you know, see. Demo account, right? There's no live funds here that I'm trading in front of you guys, so nothing to be skewed. Anyway, where am I here? Euro. Okay, so what did we say? 124.50. I'm just going to put a buy limit order in here, test it out, see what happens, and pending by 124.40. What did I say that level was? 124.25? Yes, I did. I don't know if the price is going to get down there, to be honest with you. I think... Wait, that's not right. Price going... No. Should be up here. 124.25. Hang on. Yeah, that's right, 124.25. You know what? I'm going to move it to the top of that consolidation. And again, this is just on this feed here. I'm going to actually call it even at 124.30. I like round numbers. I don't like going in at 124, 27, 26, 29. I don't like those numbers. I like the big numbers, the big figure numbers. So whatever your feed is. So like I say, there's a 5 pip difference on this feed to this feed here. So the high of this candle comes in at 124.27, and the high of the same candle in here comes in at where are we here? 120. Come on, get that. 124.26. So it's a discrepancy of a couple of pips. But you can see here. So you could even, I don't know, but I think. Hang on here. Let me just zoom in a little bit. Yeah, see, it kind of comes to the top of that candle there, and that's sort of what I like. Would like to see price come down to the top of there if I can get it. And on the hourly, does it show me that same thing? Let me zoom in a bit. See what the high of this guy comes in at. 124.27. So yeah, it's off just a little bit, but we'll use 124.30. We'll see how that goes. Price may not even want to come down there. It may have gone as low as it's going to go. We may not see a drop of 10 pips, and it could just go higher. So anyway, let me modify. I gotta put my stop in. So 30. I'll call it 124 even, I guess. I think that's what I had on the other one. And 125.40, I believe, was my target. If that's correct. Yep, 125.40, 125.40, and my stop. Oh, I had my stop a little bit lower, but that's because I ran it up a bit. So this is at 124.25, 30 pips, 123.95. This feed is going to be 123. Sorry, 124 even. Yeah. So we'll see if that pans out. Kind of a lackluster news driver. It was a medium impact news driver. So we may not get much movement more down below if the price is just going to remain bullish. But I don't want to. I don't want to buy on an up candle. It's chasing price. I mentioned it earlier. You know, you get the best. You overcome your spread, your dealer spread, so much quicker when you're buying a down candle. And I don't like buying on. And I mean, you could buy here, but just bear in mind, price may want to trickle back down to here. I mean, I'm even tempted just to do a market order right at where it's at, and just do a tiny little order just to see what happens, to see if I'm going to be right on it. And I don't want to wait around for another hour for the next news driver to see if it does kick it down this way either. So that's kind of how trading works sometimes, though. I've been trading now for, God, 15, 16, 17, well, just under 18 years now. Well, actually, I think this is my 18th year of trading now. So I don't know. I've never really shared my story online or anything like that, and I don't know if any of you guys care to hear it. I try to keep this as professional as possible and make sure that we stick to the topic at hand. There's really not much else to talk about here. I'm not going to analyze anything else. Actually, I will say one thing though. I mentioned this yesterday. I see these copper, sugar, cotton, cocoa, coffee, OJ, and all the rest of the commodities. I am going to sit down and do a video analysis on them, and I'm going to pick out the leaders and the market leaders, whether bullish or bearish, coming up into the first quarter. And I want to basically put out videos on some levels that I'm looking at, and eventually, for all of our subscribing members, I don't know if any of you are commodity traders, but very, very, very powerful instrument, trading futures. And if you want to learn how, I can certainly help you with that. But I'm going to be putting out some signals for several of the leading pairs of commodities in their respective groups. So of the grains, the metals, the softs, agricultures, things like that. I'm going to run through and do a video, like I say, on all of them. Pick out the leaders in each market, and then I'm going to basically do exactly what I'm doing here. I'm just going to go in and say, okay, I like this area here. We could pick up a long in this area or a short or whatever. We'll pick out our first profit-taking targets or second profit-taking targets, and then we're going to run through and we're going to see how that pans out. So that's what I'm going to be doing on Thursday. I'm taking advantage of the whole non-farm payroll not trading on Thursday or Friday to get that done. So I'm hoping that I'll have that rolled out for this Friday at the very latest, and then I will put that up to the website. And again, that's not going to be, I'm not putting that on YouTube or anything like that. That's going to be for members only, and hopefully, guys, I'm getting my stream health here is telling me it's really poor right now. Are you guys getting hearing me loud and clear? You just type yes or no in the chat there. Just let me know if you guys can hear me. I just had everything just switch over. Is it delaying or anything on you? I've got a few windows open. Maybe it's on my end. Okay, good. It's thanks, Sean. Thanks for mentioning that. Yeah, technical issues with computers, it drives me nuts. Here's another little short story. So I've been working off the same laptop. I use a Windows laptop. I've got Windows 10, and worked perfectly fine. There's no issues with it whatsoever. I've had this laptop now. I think this is my second year with this laptop, and all of a sudden, last I think September, I get an update. Oh, new Windows version's out. Download this and get all the wonderful advantages of the new Windows features and everything. Okay, sounds good. Click on it, and it was a sorry, I should go back. It wasn't like I had the choice. It was a forced installation from Microsoft. They pushed this out and pushed it to everybody, and you don't have a choice whether or not you want to download it or not. But for whatever reason, it would not install on my system. And every time, every single day, once a day, it would download the Windows, new Windows update, which would take hours, and then it would try to install it. It would reboot and it would literally reboot my computer, whether I wanted it to or not, right in the middle of working or not. And then I would get a screen saying Windows failed to install, and contact Microsoft, blah blah blah. So anyway, I put up with this thing for a month or two, and finally in December, I had some time with the markets being slow. I finally sat down and I said, all right, that's it. I'm getting this stupid thing fixed. I called Microsoft support, and this is the beginning of December. Keep in mind, called Microsoft support, and for about 2 weeks, their level 1 tech support was remotely logging into my computer trying to fix this stupid problem. And it's not like I have some weird laptop, like it's a Dell Inspiron. I mean, it's not like it's a some kind of high tech or no name brand or something like that. Like it's a fully supported system. Anyway, the first level techs, they threw their hands up and said, no, we can't do anything. This is about after 2 weeks of remote admitting into my system and trying did this fix and that fix. And then they got kicked up to tier 2. And then now we're about around Christmas, and they finally came in and they tried for about a week or two, and they said, no, we can't do anything. And then it went up to the third level engineers, and they've been now working on it all of January, and literally all of January. And they still cannot get rid of this problem. And it just continues. They say, yeah, it's fixed, it's done, you're good to go. And then I'll shut my laptop down, open it back up, and within 15 minutes, boom, Windows update again, starts downloading, and it just lags my system and kills my processes and everything. And so it's like a virus. That's what I said to the guy. It's like, this is like a damn virus. It just won't go away. And finally I said, look, stop trying to reinstall it. Just stop my computer from downloading the Windows update. Just prevent it from doing it to begin with. and they went in and did 100 fixes from Sunday, and they still couldn't get it fixed. So anyway, long story short, this Friday, the engineer has finally talked me into doing a full, complete Windows reinstall. So hopefully he'll back up my system and I'll be able to come back in and talk to you guys again. I'll have all my settings saved, but I've basically got all this weekend to go through and reload all my applications, and it's such a pain in the ass. I used to be involved in computers. I used to be an IT tech way back in the day, like in my early 20s, and I lasted about 3 or 4 years in that industry, and I could not wait to get out of it. I was pulling my hair out because I'm the type of guy, if technology, if computers, if it just doesn't work, there's nothing more frustrating to me than that. And I decided, you know, hey, wouldn't that be a great career to go into, fix people's computers? No, no. Yeah, I did. Like I say, I was in maybe 3, maybe 4 years, and I was like, this ain't for me. I'm gonna put my fist through one of these screens or throw the computer through the window, or I just, it wasn't for me. So, and now, like, I know how to fix computers. I mean, you know, granted, this was, you know, almost 20 years ago when I was in IT tech. I mean, technology has changed quite a bit. Like, I think Windows XP was just coming into existence when I was doing this, if that kind of tells you how long ago that was. But now, like, when my own computers don't work and stuff, I'm the last guy that wants to fix it. I would rather pay somebody, here's my laptop, take it, fix it, give it back to me when it's fixed, and then I can just continue my day. I just have zero patience or zero time for technology that doesn't work. But anyway, I apologize for the long rant. The whole point of the story is my goal is to get that commodity video finished before that reinstall happens on Friday. So it will be uploaded to the website before 6 p.m. New York time on Friday. And so for all of our members, you can access that. The video will be private. It will not be listed on the YouTube channel. And so if you've subscribed to our YouTube channel, thank you very much, and I hope you appreciate and are taking advantage of these live trading opportunities that we're doing here, you know, day in and day out. But the commodity stuff is gold. It really, really is gold. And I mean, you could, I mean, if you play your cards right and you do the setups correctly, I mean, you could easily clear $1 million in your trading account in one calendar year, trading commodities and futures. And so I'm going to go through and I'm going to give that out to our members. And I'm going to take a lot of time to do it, and I'm going to do a lot of research in it, and that is only going to be available to our paying members, just so you know. And yeah, ain't that the truth, John? Oh, you are using a Mac, eh? Yeah. I know. I don't know if I can go over to the Mac side though. I have a lot of buddies that they swear by it. I just don't know. And John, if you were part of the debacle that was happening at the beginning of this live session, our analyst there who was trying to get on, he was using a Mac, so I guess you're not really safe with any software, really. Unfortunately, computers. What do you do? But anyways, what was I just saying? Yeah, so that video will be on the website for all of our paying members. So again, if you're a YouTube member, great. I appreciate that. You can still take advantage of all of our live session, and we have tons of free content on our YouTube channel, so you can take advantage of those. Sorry, I'm just reading your comments there, John. I can't do two things at once as well, too. Just so you know, if we're progressing through these live sessions in the future, and I literally stop mid-sentence and don't say anything, it's because something's got me distracted. I can't multitask if my life depended on it. So if I'm stopping to talk, or if I'm not talking, it's because I'm reading your comments, and then I can resume again after that. And I'm not a very quick reader either, so it's not one of my strong suits. But anyway, like I was saying, commodity video will be uploaded to the website on Friday before 6 p.m. New York time, so you can check that out. And I'd really like to encourage our members to open up some dialogue on that as well too. Take a look at the video, watch it, and give me your thoughts and your feedback on it. I would really appreciate that, and it would help me to better develop the videos as well too, and give you some more content and things that you can actually use in your own trading. And just so you know, going forward, I'm not here to teach you how to trade. I just want to make that point very clear. You know, I have no problem sitting down analyzing the markets with you. I have no problem sitting down and showing you the levels that have my interest and telling you buy, sell, you know, stops, targets, and what my overall opinion of where the markets are going to go. That's what the whole design and purpose of F45 Trading is. It's a signal-based company. We are here to assist people in their own personal trading. But if you're a new trader, you know, apart from asking very, very basic questions, you know, I'm not going to go into why necessarily, apart from what I've explained so far about, you know, certain levels. Okay, like there's just certain things, certain trade setups and things like that that I will not discuss because I've signed agreements with the person who taught me that I will not be discussing any of that. So if you're looking for trade education above and beyond what I'm providing you, unfortunately, I'm not going to be the answer for you. I'm more going to be a tool to help assist you in your trading and to try and help you get your you know, your understanding and hopefully your demo accounts a lot higher. And again, I don't want to know if you guys are taking live trades or not. I'm assuming everything's going to be in a demo, and please don't tell me otherwise. So with that out of the way, back to this Euro trade. Sorry about that rant. I usually try to keep things strictly business when I'm on here to try and, you know, nullify the time that we have to spend in front of the charts. But I figured I'd have to kill a few minutes of time here watching this Euro trade. So what better way to do it than bore you with mindless drivel, right? And we're looking at equal lows right here on these two candles. And I want to see what this candle does here. I think we have a good little range right in here. So I dropped down to the 15-minute chart, and I think we've got a good little range right here. A nice little consolidation area that I'm looking at right here. Price traded off this consolidation range off of this one here. So we keep getting another bump up in price. I'd love it if price dropped right in here and it took us on that buy. And I don't think I got it on this demo yet. No, we're still about 8 pips. What was the low of this candle? 124. I was 4 pips off. That's the other thing too. I'll tell you right now, the part of trading. So myself and the other two analysts that are helping me build this site and build this service up, we are very accurate with our trades. I should say are very accurate with our trade direction. And we don't, our only main problem is some of our trades, they just don't trigger. So we'll put the levels up, and unfortunately price just doesn't always get down to those levels. Sometimes we opt to be a little more conservative with the entries, you know, just in case, obviously. So sometimes the trades don't trigger, but yet they go to the target that we had anticipated. And I'll tell you, there's nothing in my book more frustrating than that. I would rather get stopped out on a managed stop, I should say, than price misses my entry level and then it just goes up. It's just the most frustrating thing in trading, because you know you're right, you got everything, and I mean it's basically, it's a boost to the ego. You say, yeah, great, I'm right, but how did that help me? It's super frustrating when it happens, and I'm sure you guys can all relate to that as well too. Yeah, I think we're gonna get dropped down. I think we're gonna do it. Anyway, guys, I don't want to spend I don't want to take up too much more of your time. I appreciate the time that you've spent and sat through the technical difficulties. That I can assure you will not happen again. We'll get everything all ironed out. It was just kind of the last second that the software that he was using, Camtasia, wasn't for whatever reason allowing the stream code. So again, back to the technical difficulties, it was something just sort of last minute on the fly. We said, well, let's try a different streaming platform. Loaded it up, and for whatever reason we just couldn't get the display to work, for of all reasons. But we'll get that ironed out. And again, we have another analyst coming in on Friday doing the S&P. So for Friday morning for the New York session, so you can watch for that. And again, that should be seamless, and we'll make sure that we got that up and running. So we'll put the link out, and you can jump on, and we can get into the charts right away without any delays. So my goal is to keep these trading sessions to about an hour at the most, an hour and a half at the very maximum. I don't want to spend too much time doing it. Obviously, I'm sure you guys don't want to be sitting in the charts that long. But that's typically, if we can't get through all of these pairs in about an hour, then we're doing something wrong here. Unless we're, like I say, having technical difficulties, or we're waiting for one of these trades to take place. So, any other questions you guys have for me? I'll give you about 2 minutes here. I'm actually just going to take a real quick, short 2-second break. I'm just going to go grab some more water because my throat is killing me, and then we'll just come up, we'll look at the euro, we'll wrap up, and then we'll let you guys take off for the rest of the day here. So if you have any questions, now's the time. Throw them in the chat for me there, and then I'll read them as soon as I get back, and then we'll finish off, and we'll let you guys go. So give me 1 second. Okay, thanks guys, I appreciate your time. Okay, no questions for today, no worries. Well, like I say, I appreciate your time. You guys, let me know how your trade pans out there, your demo trade pans out on this, but I'm gonna leave my levels in here, see if price wants to come down. There's one more news driver, like I was saying, in about what are we, about 35 minutes away right here, and then some high impact at 5 a.m. So it's going to be interesting to see what's going to happen. I kind of wanted to see this thing push higher on that news driver and do this and kick above and take some of the liquidity above this old high here, and then come back down, use that maybe second news driver, the one coming out in 35 minutes, to bring it down back into our buy area, and then use that one at 5 a.m. to start pushing that up in the right direction of our overall target. That was kind of what I had in mind of panning out here, but I don't know that we're going to see that happen. And what my concern is, keep this in the back of your mind, my concern is that these next two news drivers could, the first one coming down, bringing us into here, the second one could take us lower yet, and it might hit the stop on the second one. I don't know. I mean, shit, it could come down, and the first one just brings it into the buy area, and the second two drive it up. I mean, there's 100 different possibilities with these fabricated media news events that happened. And all it is just basically market makers creating liquidity in the market. is really all it is. But yeah, anyway, I'm gonna leave it at that, guys. I think yeah, we're getting a nice reaction off of that now. You know what, I'm just gonna hang out here for 2 more minutes. I mean, if you guys got nothing better to do and you want to watch price with me, I just want to see this candle close. What I'm thinking here is, if we can't get higher, if price closes lower than kind of the halfway through this candle, I think maybe the next candle could close lower and we could start to get into our buy area. But if it closes strong and it closes above halfway here, then it's just going to keep going higher, and we've missed our entry. But this candle came down to 124.33, and on this feed, this candle came down to 124.34. So yeah, 4 pips off of that entry level. So I don't know why, but it looks way more bullish on this feed than it does this one for some reason, but it's probably just my eyes playing tricks on me. Yeah, 1 more minute. I want to see this candle close. I think it's going to take price higher, to be honest with you. I think it's going to I think that's going to be the low of that candle, rejected, and we didn't quite get it back down to where I wanted it to, unfortunately. And then I think we're just going to keep going up. But yeah, there we go. The candle closed. Where are we on the 15? Yeah, it closed up pretty high here. Yeah, not boding well to come down in our to our entry. Yeah, see, looking at it, looking like it's going to expand up. And see, when it gets to there, that's the thing, is in my that's tough with trading. Is the thing of it is you have these candles, and I only buy in a down candle, right? So this candle comes all the way down, and you say, oh, that's perfect, it was a down candle, you should have bought. Well, yeah, it's 10 pips above my, or 5 pips above my entry level. How do I know the next candle is going to come down another 5-10 pips, you know, bearish as well too? And then, you know, I could have got a better price, you know, coulda, woulda, shoulda, right? I mean, but I mean, at the end of the day, you're kind of at the mercy of that. If it doesn't hit your level, it doesn't trigger. I don't want to chase price, and now that price is back up here, I mean, we're only talking a matter of, you know, a few pips, of course, but still, in the grand scheme of things, I mean, I'm trying to trade with some degree of precision here, and I'm not just willy-nilly jumping in and out of the market. And that's, look, and here's the thing that I've learned in my short time as a trader. So I've been trading, like I say, for about 18 years now, and you know, not professionally or anything like that. Like, don't get me wrong. I mean, the first 10 years of that trading career, or that time trading, was, I mean, you couldn't have been more amateur than what I was. I mean, I was trading stocks, and I live in a part of the world where energy is a huge market driver. Like what I'm saying is oil and gas is the industry that I live in, and so like everybody I know, I mean, you know, all my family, everybody is associated or some way, shape, or form with oil and gas and the energy market. And so you know, a lot of people in the you know, the public section of you know, oil companies and oil service companies and things like that have publicly listed companies, and you get a lot of inside track and a lot of inside information on some plays. So I mean, all I did when I started my account, I always knew I wanted to trade, and I loved trading and stocks and everything like that, and it was awesome. And I was just a kid, opened up an account, threw some money in there, and I mean, I grew it astronomically. I mean, it was just ridiculous. And but because, you know, I would take any trade, didn't matter what it was. Buy, yeah, sure, that's good. Sat on it for a few months. I mean, I remember one that I took, and this is all in a demo. This is all hypothetical, of course, for the record. But I literally, I can't remember how many shares. I bought the stock at like 8 cents, and I sold it. It was somewhere in the neighborhood of $12 or $15 or something ridiculous. Like, it was the most money I've ever made, and it was in I think about a 4-month span. Like, it was unbelievable. And so that's how I got my feet wet into trading. And I was just thinking, hey, just buy, 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 buy. Hey, this is easy. I didn't have any idea about what short selling was. And then eventually I started getting into some trouble in 2008. And I whittled my portfolio down to a fraction of what it was before in the glory days. And that's when I kind of sat back and said, I better learn how to start trading, otherwise I'm going to lose everything. And I got first involved in trading with a company that it's a very, very well known company, with the founder of it anyway. And he didn't teach the trading; he just hired people. And anybody who had a heartbeat that could trade a chart got hired, basically. And they taught some very, very basic stuff that I needed to know. That I learned price action, and I learned how price charts work, and I learned how to put entries, and do it all myself. And invaluable experience, but very, very, very expensive. Like, I was able to split the costs with another one of my friends at the time, and we bought a course. It was a 2-year course, and it cost each of us about $17,000. And it was the basic entry level of this course. And it taught us stocks, it taught us options, it taught us futures, it taught us stocks, options, futures. There was some real estate that they threw in there. All really, really great information, but just insanely expensive. So I, rambled through that for a couple of years, and lost a bunch of more money in my portfolio because I thought I knew how to trade. And then I just kind of actually got into very, very high level. I kind of stumbled into it, some very, very high level training here into my 30s, early 30s. And then, like I say, I've just been honing and developing it ever since. And it was probably about, I'd say, 3 years ago. What are we, 2018? Early 2015, I got really interested in the Forex market, and I'd always been a futures and commodities trader for probably, I'd say, about the past 10 years. And trading Forex was pretty much new to me. I mean, I didn't really understand it that much, other than it was a very, very liquid market, very fast moving market, and it was 24 hours a day, 5 days a week, which really interested me because I was like a junkie trading. And I know you probably understand what that feels like when you're first trading. It's like you got to get into every single trade that you see, no matter what. It's like an addiction almost in some cases. But that was what I found, and it took a long time to kind of beat that out of me, and kind of get some level-headed thinking going on, and not jumping into every single price movement that I see. Oh, look at that. Now price is pushing up here. I don't know if you guys get on it, but I think this one, I missed it. Missed my entry level, unfortunately. I might have been a little too conservative. Maybe what I should have done was, well, even if I did put it on this high here, it wouldn't have got me, because I got to account for the dealer's spread. That's too bad. I don't know if you guys took a market order on that, or if you did a pending order. If you got into it, great. You're probably already up 20 pips or so. Ride that out and see where it goes. But be careful. Like I say, I'm curious to find out if they're just going to stab it up here and then drop it again. And that's kind of what I was alluding to on this chart here. So price doing this. I was hoping they would have came down first and then taken it, but they didn't really get much of a retracement in there. So just be very mindful that they don't just stab it up here 5 or 10 pips and then reject it. If you got in on the low of this candle here, then I would suggest moving your stop up. And if price gets up to 10 pips above this old high here, price gets up to 124.55. So if price trades up to 160, 165, I would definitely take some profits. Take half the trade off, put that in your bank, and sit on that. Move your stop up to you know, just below this candle here. So if price does end up coming back and rejecting down, you're not going to lose anything, and then you can sit and if you want, you can get back in the trade, obviously, and nothing's preventing you from doing that. But you just watch what price does. If it does come up, creep up and then come back down here. I don't think we're going to see it go lower than these two consolidating areas in here, but I just don't know. Again, there's a big market driver out at 5 a.m. So, you know, we'll kind of see what happens there. But anyway, what was I saying? Back to my quick little story there. Yeah, so I got involved in the Forex markets. I've been involved in it for 3 or 4 years now. I think early 2015, I got involved in that. So 15, 16, 17. So this is my 4th year going into trading Forex, and I love trading Forex. You know, day trading Forex. That's my bread and butter. That's what I do. And then I don't trade a lot of stocks. I've got a stock portfolio, obviously, but I typically, when I get into a stock, I'll hold that for, you know, probably a year, 2 years. You know, they're kind of high dividend paying stocks, things like that. I don't do a lot of day trading in those at all. I don't have any penny stocks or any of that crap. I mean, I got all of that stuff out of my system when I was young. And those things are just, you got to be very, very careful with penny stocks. It's all insider information, and it's a lot of hype and a lot of garbage with penny stocks. And there's a lot of big promoters out there these days too that sit down and say, "Oh God, penny stocks are the thing to be in." You know, you can lose a lot of money doing them. You can make a lot too. I mean, there's just two sides to every coin, obviously, but I just elect with stocks just to kind of sit on them, take the dividends, and let them go for the long term. And then commodities, I tend to swing trade commodities, and you know, I'd like to go the minimum length of time on a swing trade that I would see would be, you know, kind of like a few days to minimum a week type of thing, and then anywhere to about before contract expiry. So just depending on when the contract expires is obviously, you know, I don't want to go through the contract rollover months on it, and I will collapse a trade before then. You typically don't want to let it roll over. So that's sort of when I would be looking at getting out. So the maximum would be if I can find a trade set up that looks good at the beginning of the quarter, for instance, I'd be getting out at the end of the quarter before that contract rollover happens. So it's usually the 3rd Thursday of the month of the contract expires in. So whether it's March or April, May, June, you know, whatever it is. So that would be sort of the longest term that I would hold a commodity or futures trade. And then on Forex, like I say, I'll day trade it. The longest I'd hold the Forex trade would be maybe about a week, and the shortest time, you know, minutes, right? So that's kind of what you're looking at for Forex. So just kind of gives you an idea of sort of our style of trading. The gentleman who was supposed to be on with you today was he's more of a scalper. He likes to jump in and out of markets fairly quickly. He's very, very efficient at it as well too. You know, he can capture 20, 30, 40 pips with a nice move, and he'll do it several times a day and basically capture a full, you know, day trade range that I would capture of, you know, 80 to 100 pips. He could do that by a series of 2 or 3 or 4 trades, and he loves to do that. So you get a kind of a different range of trading styles with all of us put together, and so hopefully we can kind of appeal to everybody going forward. So anyway, I'm going to shut this down because we're 2 hours into this, and I'm like 40 minutes over, 2 hours and 10 minutes in this, and I'm about you know, a good 40 minutes over where I wanted to be. So I appreciate your time. We'll do another one here tomorrow for London Open at 12 a.m. New York time, so you can watch for that, and we'll check out and see what this trade did. We'll see what this trade get in there. We'll see what this guy did here, and where was that? Aussie. I wanted to see what this one does here as well too. This one, we'll come back to this one obviously next week, but I want to see kind of how that one pans out. And the last one is Bitcoin. I kind of wanted to see, I was interested in that one because I think we're going to see a nice little drop down in Bitcoin here. So anyway, with that, I really appreciate your time, guys. Hopefully you got some value out of that, and we will catch up to you there tomorrow. Have a great day.